It's Tuesday. It's Mark Pires. And it's Real Talk.
I was walking down the road today, looking for another way to ease my mind and help my living.
It's Real Talk. It's the daily vlog, Mark Pires Real Talk. I'm here to help you make smarter moves, to amplify your current state, and I'm here with you on Tuesday, day 295 in a row of the Mark Pires Real Talk show. I happen to be in Lower Fairfield County, and we work with a lot of people in Westchester and in Lower Fairfield County who happen to be in the finance market. And so when I ask that question is, are you working with a realtor? The common response is, I don't need a realtor. I'm in finance. I do deals all the time. And no one can negotiate like me. That's what I hear a lot. And I think that's an interesting response. And I just want to tell you today why that person's at a disadvantage and how you can speak to them properly in order to convert them into a potential client. And I've done that consistently. And the reason is, when you show your value, people will take note. If you listen to them say that and you huddle into the corner and say, oh, well, they don't want a realtor. They don't want a realtor. They do deals all the time. When's the last time you did a real estate transaction? Now, I'm just going to answer for you based on common stats. I'd say 7 years. So you may do transactions and deals constantly and you negotiate on a daily basis on the finance side of things. But when is the last time you went with it through a real estate transaction? And if you say it's any more than 3 years, I think you're already at a disadvantage if you think that you could go it alone. Now, here's the other thing I don't like about this idea of going it alone. The World Series starts tonight. Have you noticed when there's a pitcher on the mound and they need to get just a sign across, or they're having a conversation, they cover their faces? You ever notice this? You ever notice that they're really very careful about their signs? They don't want the other team to see the signs. You've seen this. We all know about this. It's because you don't want to give away what you're thinking and what you're feeling about anything. So this idea of, let me call the listing agent because I'm such a great negotiator. Let me just go right to the deal. I'll do the deal. I don't need some realtor to do the deal for me. He can't negotiate like me. She can't negotiate like me. I just did a deal for $3 million yesterday. No one's going to be able to negotiate like me. Okay. So now you call this listing agent directly. So you're going over, you're the Astros, you're going over to the Nationals. You're going to go directly to the Nationals and try to put that deal together. That's really how you're going to go? You never go right to the other side and tell them what you want and how you're going to go. Oh, because I'm so good at negotiating, I can somehow try to navigate through. You gave away everything. Do you understand the value of having a realtor is that now you have a line of defense before you, the middleman. No one knows what you're thinking. No one knows what you're willing to do. They don't even know what your face looks like. That is the ultimate position of negotiation. What you're looking for is someone who could speak with authority on your behalf. Okay? And if you can't find that, then you just make another phone call and you interview. What I have to say is a lot of people will just pick a realtor. Oh, whatever, it's just a realtor. They're all the same. Or you have the opposite. Someone says, I'll never use a realtor because I do deals all the time. I don't need a realtor. Guys, it's the middle ground, okay? The realtor's there to help you, but you need to find the right realtor, okay? What you should be doing at open houses is interviewing. You're going from house to house looking at homes, but that's part of what you're doing. The other half is interviewing agents. You're looking for an agent that will speak to you the way you want to be spoken to. To me, that means real talk. Saying what needs to be said. People need answers. They want guidance. If you give that to them and you're honest with them, they'll want to work with you. And if that guy who's standing across from you says, I don't need a realtor, I'd never hire a realtor because I'm in finance, they're convertible. I've converted those people before. And the reason is you just need to believe in yourself and explain to them the way I just did that they're at a disadvantage by going direct. I'll tell you one quick side story. I had a property on the market a few years ago. I sold the property. Just going to pick round numbers. I think it was $1.6 million property, and offers were coming in where I sold it. Okay, the very first day, I got an offer where I sold it 3 months later. Because it was brand new, the owners wanted full asking price. It's in such a great area in New Canaan. They wanted full asking price. They felt they can get it. And it's a great neighborhood. There was a chance, So no to that offer. Or you know what? Let's put them on the back burner. That's the other thing. Don't ever put a good deal on the back burner. You take it and you move on. Whatever you're losing, so-called losing on a deal, you're making up on the buy. It's a wash. As long as you buy at the same time as you sell. We find too many of these buyers who feel they don't need our services. And then they're at a disadvantage. So this buyer, I'll just tell you, so offers start getting lower, okay? They go from this mid 1.5s down to like 1.5, 1.4. All of a sudden they're going down in the 1.4s. And this is an exploding clock for me. This client has made a very clear relocation that if it doesn't sell over the 3 months, it was only 3 months, supposed to be 6 months. And they last second were like, nope, it's got to be 3 months. So I'm thinking to myself, as long as I show how hard I work for them, they're going to extend. Well, no, they made it very clear right at the beginning. If you don't sell, by the time this thing expires, we're giving it to the next person who was interviewed. I mean, they were very, very hardcore about this. So I start doing this, start trying to show the house. Here's another funny side story. I'm not allowed to show it because the relocated client is now out in California and the husband feels he doesn't want to clean the house as often as he should. And he starts saying no to every showing and saying, tell them to come during the open houses on the weekend. And I said, you can't do that. It's on the MLS. You have to give access. Nope. Tell them to come. You have an open house every weekend. So wait a second. You want me to tell all my other sellers that they can't have open houses because I need to have an open house every weekend because you won't allow me to show it during the week? Yes. So that was where I was. Okay. And again, the clock is, I'm hearing it tick. So we're going and I'm showing it like crazy. Finally, I've got this one client. He keeps coming in. Open house. I think he came 5 times, 5 open houses. Now look, 3 months, I had an open house every weekend because I couldn't show it. So people were coming through, agents were mad at me because I couldn't get them in. And so, but they're all showing it, they're all doing their part. And so finally, this buyer comes back for the final time, David. And I said, David, what are you doing? I said, why don't I just give you the keys? I said, you're home, you keep coming back. This is obviously where you need to be. He said, you know what, Mark, I think you're right. And we start the conversation. Now, I want to tell you something. The reverse side to this is when someone comes to me directly, it is very smooth. So I'm not saying that you're like, it's a horrible thing to do, but I think I got the number where it was originally. We traded where the offers were coming in because that was the market. All of a sudden, the agents in my town were doing a great job for their buyers. They're getting the price down. Seller doesn't like that. Seller doesn't like that at all. It took that buyer coming directly to me, the listing agent, to get that buyer to understand the value of the market and get that house to trade at 1,550. So you tell me, are buyers at a disadvantage going to a listing agent? Or is that agent who's trying to get the best deal possible for their buyer doing a great job? And they're being just misjudged. Misjudged. I could tell you 5 or 6 agents who are trying to get that house much lower. And if that buyer didn't come to that open house directly to me, at a certain point, those sellers start saying to themselves, you know what? That offer from that agent from the other firm starting to look pretty good. So my philosophy, my perspective on this is this. Those agents were awesome. They did their job, the same job I would do if I was the buyer agent and somebody else was listing a property. I'm trying to get the best deal for my client. If I am listing that property, I've been representing that client for a year, 6 months, 4 months, whatever it is. They have become a partner of mine. All right. We're the Astros. We are the team. And now you come in, Mr. Washington Nationals. I'm a big finance guy. I do deals every day. I'm going to go directly to that guy right there. And I'll work out some sort of deal. Maybe he'll cut his commission to do the deal because I'm going direct. That's another thing I want you to realize. Do you guys realize that contracts are negotiated up front? When I take a listing, that seller's agreeing to pay the full commission. So you coming in and saying, well, you should cut your commission means nothing. Now, maybe things get done on a back end. People are doing shady things. But in general, when I take a listing, I'm getting paid in full. Okay? If you come to me, good for me. Not so good for you. I still think it's good for you. My client was extremely happy. And like I said, he didn't overpay. He paid market value. It just took me to explain market value. The other people were doing their job. Time has started to become a thing. 60 days, 75 days. Hey, well, you know what? Maybe Mark's going to start speaking to them about a price reduction soon because it still hasn't sold. They were playing their part correctly. I was doing my job. Every Sunday, open house for 2.5 months because this all started about 3 weeks in. And so I'm there. And finally, we converted this client to a transaction. But it took 5 visits at open houses. And it like I said, for me, my perspective was that these other agents were doing such a good job trying to beat my client down for the best deal possible. And I was doing the best job possible, get that transaction to trade by getting that buyer to realize the value. I earned my commission. And this goes back to what we discussed yesterday, showing your value. You know, I could have very easily pushed on those clients to take one of those 4 or 5 offers that were on the table much lower. That's not how I do my business. Look, this is what you have. How would you like to respond? Okay, great. I take that and I go back to them. Don't pressure people, okay? Let them make the decisions they're going to make. You'll find in life that you can't force people to do anything. When you're going out to search for a property, for example, there's a reason why it takes time. It's 2 people with 2 different interests, 2 different likes, 2 different dislikes. They have to find some sort of compromise. That only happens if you give them the time. If you start forcing them to make decisions because you want the job to be done, you start setting yourself up for failure. And I'm not even talking about now. I'm talking about the bridges you burn now will come back to haunt you later. You know, one of the reasons why I've been doing Real Talk since I started this business, and not even here on the air with you guys, but Real Talk for my clients from the day forget that. From the day I was born, I've just been me, okay? And I've always laid it out the way it needs to be told because as the youngest guy in town, and now I may not be anymore, but as the youngest guy in town when I started this, I realized I needed to differentiate myself. There was a reason I wore a suit every day for the first 9 years I was in this business. I needed to show them I'm ready to go. All right. Someone walks into my office. They want to go look at property. They want to put a deal together. The guy in the suit's ready to go. I'm not there like tennis racket in hand. I was always ready to show that I'm ready to work. At a certain point, you've already done that. You've proven yourself. You can see I'm a little bit more laid back as far as the way I've dressed these last couple of years. Because you know what? My service speaks for itself. It's not how I dress. Okay? It's how I speak. It's how I handle my clients and how passionate I will be for them. I will never leave them out in the lurch. I'm always going to be there to fight for them. And that story I just told you about, fighting to get that client to recognize the value of that property, is a prime example of how Real Talk can help you convert more. I'm going to leave you with one final sentiment. We as human beings are extremely smart. All of us. But there's something that we all have equally. I don't know if it's a street smarts, if it's an intuition that we all sort of have this connection to, and we can sense, and it's 2 letters, BS. We all have this meter, and we could sense the BS meter. It's within us all. And no matter how smooth and like snake oil salesman you seem, everyone knows what you're doing. And you think you're so slick. Ooh, I got away with it. Mark didn't know I was lying to his face. Guess what? I did. I let you get away with it. But that's over. I don't do that anymore. I call people out. Because you know what? I don't want to communicate with people who aren't going to give it to me straight. I want to put people in the correct columns. I told you guys, I give everybody an opportunity to show themselves. You decide which column you're going to be in. Okay? It's all up to you. Everyone has the opportunity to be loved and to be appreciated. You decide if you want to be. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's Mark Pires. That's Real Talk.